The spring garden is in full bloom. Everything is ready to be harvested. I've been slowly picking onions and potatoes a little bit, here and there to use in meals, and it just never gets old cooking straight from the garden. It can seem like a lot of work. Well, it is a lot of work, but especially on years when you have a new baby or just a difficult season, it's so much to keep up with the garden. But every other year, I don't have a new baby, and it's a little bit easier. It's a lot more enjoyable. This just happens to be one of those years. So, we are going to just do a good old fashioned cooking video today. We're going to make dinner straight from the garden. I pulled up a couple of smaller onions. I am going to let the rest of the onions stay in and fully mature. But I pulled up a couple small ones to make onion rings with on this evening, and then a couple potato plants. The onions that you saw me harvest, those were blush onions. I get them from Dixondale Farms. I will link that in the description below the video. Then just pulled up some potatoes. Now I'm showing you guys our new grapes and blackberries that we planted this spring. They've already got some leaves. They're looking pretty good. We've got a little teenager chicken tractor out here in the garden, and some of my new chicks that I had showed you a few videos back, my Summers and Morans that I ordered from the hatchery, are doing really well. They love spending time in the garden. And at this size, I'm not worried about them doing any damage. Honestly, even my bigger chickens don't really damage anything in the garden. When the tomatoes are ripe, they might pick at the tomatoes, but if I get out there and harvest them early in the morning, it's not that big of a deal. But I've shared with you guys that I like to incubate or purchase chicks in the summer. That way it's warm and I don't have to keep them under a heat lamp. They can pretty much just go straight outside, maybe spend like a week under a heat lamp or something, but then they can just go outside. It's warm outside, and I like to put new chicks in the garden. Like I said, they're not going to cause damage, but they're going to do a lot of hard work eating pests and picking weeds and fertilizing with their chicken poop, and all the benefits of having chickens in the garden. All right, so tonight we are making chicken fried steak. Got some cube steak from our beef. We are going to make mashed potatoes from the garden potatoes, onion rings, and then cream corn. I cannot take credit for growing the corn though. Azure Standard did that for me. I just buy massive bags of frozen corn. I personally am just not like a huge corn fan, but my husband really likes it, and so that is why I make it. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies are huge problems for people living in the modern world today due to environmental factors, dietary factors, lifestyle factors, and a lot of it really is out of our control. Even if we're trying our best to live a healthy lifestyle and eat a really clean diet, there are things we can't control, like soil health and just modern environmental toxins that are everywhere. I wish I could just snap my fingers and get rid of all these problems, but I can't. So in the meantime, I know it's really important to bridge nutritional gaps with high quality supplements, and Mary Ruth's Organics has been a trusted source for me for vitamins, minerals, and targeted supplements for years now. Two things that I keep in my fridge pretty much all the time from Mary Ruth's is their liquid morning multivitamin with hair growth and liquid nighttime multi-mineral with skin renew. These products are Clean Label Project verified, so I know that when Mary Ruth's makes the claim that I am getting a clean quality product that is free of toxins, that has been verified by a third party, so I can cover all of my bases, bridging vitamin and mineral gaps without worrying about increasing my toxic load. And the same is true for my kids. I have a couple of kids who do not like taking capsules, so having liquid options is really nice, and it can get really expensive and complicated trying to piece together a supplement routine to hit all of your vitamins and minerals you're taking, like magnesium and zinc and all the things. Mary Ruth's makes it really easy to cover all of your most important bases in a one-stop shop. So the liquid nighttime multi-mineral, for example, you're getting calcium, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper, manganese, chromium, all in bioavailable forms that can be easily digested and used by the body. Right now is a great time to stock up on Mary Ruth's because it is Prime Day. So there are a ton of Mary Ruth's products already discounted on Amazon, and when you use my code, you can stack that on top of existing discounts for an additional 20% off. I will put my link, my code, all the details in the description below the video, so be sure to head over to Amazon and don't forget to add my code at checkout to stack that discount. I am using freshly milled flour to bread the cube steak for chicken fried steak, and it works great. I don't have any particular flour that I would recommend for this, just whatever you have on hand. I think this was hard red that I had actually milled earlier in the day. Now, I don't think I have a chicken fried steak recipe on my blog, but I do know that I have a chicken parm recipe, and I mean, it's the same thing. You're just frying cube steak like you would fry chicken. So I'll probably go ahead and just link my chicken fried steak recipe for you guys in the description of this video, um, along with my good old fashioned mashed potato recipe. Now, these mashed potatoes I did not peel because I just didn't, because I didn't want to. I thought they would be pretty. They're purple, nice purple skins. But if you have any digestive issues, then you're going to want to peel your potatoes. So there are, considerations in cooking that it's really good to be aware of for when you have to navigate feeding people who are not well, whether that is, they have gut health issues or just any kind of chronic condition, because chronic disease is preventable, right? Chronic disease is preventable with diet, lifestyle changes, just the way that you cook and prepare food. I know there's a lot of information out there these days about anti-nutrients like phytates and oxalates, and I have some information about, that goes into the specifics there, like in my mashed potatoes blog post recipe. I talk about why peeling potatoes makes them more digestible. But I think it can get really confusing and it can just make people scared of food. And, that's not the point. We want to be educated and empowered when it comes to preparing our food. And one of the best books I can recommend is the GAPS book. I talk about GAPS all the time because it's just such a great resource. So, Gut and Physiology. The first one was Gut and Psychology Syndrome. Great book. The second one, I think I like even better. It's Gut and Physiology Syndrome. It's a big blue book. Just get it, read it, and you will feel so educated and empowered to know how to prepare your food properly in whatever season you're in, because postpartum is a different season of life where you're going to want to eat a little bit different. Or if someone in your family or multiple people in your family are experiencing symptoms of leaky gut or any kind of chronic illness, you're going to want to eat differently until you can, to quote the book, heal and seal the gut so that it's not leaky anymore, not causing you problems. And the great thing is, when we heal and seal the gut, then we can usually go back to eating most all of our favorite foods, as long as we're just preparing them properly and eating whole foods, real food, not processed food. So I got my cube steaks breaded up there. I just made an egg wash mixture with breading, and the key to a good fried chicken, fried steak, fried anything is just that double dipping. So you want to flour coat the meat first, and then dip it in your liquid, whatever you're using, like a beer batter or an egg wash or whatever, and then dip it in your flour coating again. So now I'm cutting up my blush onions for onion rings. I like to make onion rings a lot when I'm going to be breading something because I always have extra breading and batter left over. So onion rings are just a great way to use that up. And plus, they're delicious. Anything fried is delicious. And by the way, it's hilarious and ironic that I'm talking about the GAPS diet and healthy eating, and then I'm frying stuff. But you know what? It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. At least I'm frying it in coconut oil and being mindful of my frying temperature. So I use a Fry Daddy a lot when I am frying things because it just holds the temperature at 350. So you're not going to accidentally overheat your oil. Obviously, you can use a Dutch oven or heavy bottomed pot to deep fry or to fry things or cast iron, but you do have to keep a closer eye on your oil to maintain that temperature, which, yeah, doesn't always happen, especially when you have kids running around. So that is why I like the Fry Daddy, which is what you see plugged in to the wall back there behind me. So I'm just adding all the fixins to my mashed potatoes here. Now, if I really wanted to make these mashed potatoes very digestible and gaps friendly for somebody who maybe, has leaky gut, digestive problems, I would have peeled them. I would have soaked them for a minimum of 30 minutes and then drained them before boiling them. But I mean, I could have even taken it a step further by like fermenting them, soaking them in salt water for a few days, and then draining them and then cooking them. So, with most foods, there are ways to prepare them to just make them easier to digest, which sometimes that's an easier route if you want to clean up your diet or if you want to heal your gut. Like, that's an easier route than doing some major elimination diet, especially if you're working with kids or with maybe like your husband who is a picky eater or something and doesn't want to do an elimination diet, but everybody needs some gut healing. Just learn some techniques for making your food more digestible. I think you're supposed to deep fry cube steak for like 7 minutes total for it to be done, but I don't know. I just watch it until it's just got that golden brown look. I like to eyeball it, but 7 minutes does sound right. All right, so it would not be chicken fried steak if we did not make some gravy. On this particular occasion, my gravy was not strategic. I was using up what I needed to use in the fridge. I had some fat from a chicken that I had cooked in a jar that needed to be used. So I used that as the base for my roux. But a lot of times I'll use butter if I don't have fat to use. So I added my fat, heated that up to my skillet. Now I'm adding flour that I had milled too much flour for something. I guess maybe the day before. So just using some um, flour to whisk into my chicken fat, make my roux, and then I will add bone broth. There's the roux right there. That's the base of the gravy. The little blue pot behind the skillet, that is the cream corn. That recipe is on my blog too. So cream corn, don't buy the cans. Just make it yourself. It's so simple. It's called cream corn because it's like cream and corn and butter and a few other things, some seasonings. But it's so easy. It's so delicious. And if you add a lot of cheese and make it cheesy cream corn, then your husband will love you more. If he likes cheese, I guess that is. So that is a good jiggle on some bone broth right there. I just had to show that off because it's always so satisfying when you're able to really get your bone broth to set like that. But that takes a quality animal. You got to be starting with a quality carcass. And ideally, if you're making chicken broth, throw the feet in there too if you have access to feet. If you don't, go to I don't know, just find somebody who raises and sells meat birds and ask if they have feet for sale. It's kind of a hard item to find is chicken feet, but that will really give you a nice like gelatinous rich chicken bone broth. And by the way, bone broth, while we're on the subject of gut healing, is just another great gut healing food that should be a staple in your cooking regimen. I mean, I use bone broth as the base for so many things. I cook with bone broth every day. I sip bone broth. I make pastas with bone broth, rice, soups, gravies, sauces, just all the things. All right, so my first batch of onion rings is coming out of the fryer here. Like I said, just a great way to use up extra batter anytime you're going to be frying things. And I'm just a big onion ring fan. So there's the final product. There's my classic Midwestern meal of chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, and cream corn, but all from scratch and a lot of it from my garden. We raise the beef, so that's always satisfying. And last but not least, onion rings. Now that is a classic like Midwestern bar food. And if you're not aware, in the Midwest, in a lot of our small towns, like that's all we have. We don't have restaurants, we have bars that have food, and all of it is fried. And as much as I love health, I'm not complaining because it's delicious. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys this week. Thank you for tuning in. All the recipes that I mentioned will be linked below the video, as well as my discount code for Mary Ruth's Organics. Be sure to hop on that before Prime Day is over. I'll see you all next week.